I'm going to talk about that on here. We live? We are. Why is it so dark? Looks like we're in a cave. Are we?
Sure.
We might be in a cave. Good evening, everyone. All two of you. It's Sunday night, and so even though it's Mother's Day, I still thought like we'd give this a shot. This isn't going to be an hour long, but I wanted to just. So here's the thing. I want to be consistent. And if someone's having an issue and you're getting ready to start the week and something's feeling weird or you had a hard week or something else is going on, I'm pointing that out. So I want to just make sure that I'm here for you and that we can talk about some stuff and that the rest of the community is like in the chat section so you can talk to them. What's up, Tracy Pinter? Tracy Pinter, we got your picture this week for the teacher appreciation video that is coming out as soon as this feed is done. And it was really funny to we were like, oh wait, that's Tracy Pinter. That's what she looks like. So it was really funny. And you look just like a friend of ours too, which was even funnier. We were like, oh my gosh, this looks like our friend Brittany. What's up? Good morning. Because it's morning in China, I guess. It's not evening. It's not 5 o'clock at night on a Sunday. Nahara, does that mean that you're in school right now? Are you in school since it's Monday morning? Ryan, what's up? Good teaching lesson there. Consistent regardless external factors. 100% true. Rebecca Winslow said, "Happy birthday, not so secret wife."
Or happy Mother's Day.
So
happy birthday.
What does it say?
You read
what did I say?
birthday.
Happy birthday. Dude, is it your birthday?
No.
Did I get it wrong? I thought it was in June. Deborah P said, "Finally got to catch this." What's up, Deborah? The Scottish revert. So I'm thinking of as the people are signing on. So we made the teacher appreciation video that I asked for pictures for. It took so long to make because first of all, we got a ton of pictures. Then we got a ton of we labeled every single one of the pictures, and it just took way longer than we had anticipated. So it was really funny. Are you making? Wow, that looks like I'm in a baseball field now a little bit. You can see it in the mirror behind us. We're a real professional organization over here at the Reynolds house. So that video just took really long, and I literally just finished it this afternoon. I know a lot of people by name now. Like if I saw you in public, I'd probably remember your name because I've looked at your face and I've looked at your name so many times. And so my Scottish friend, you were one of my favorite videos because I just thought it was so endearing, and I loved that you just spoke for a minute as well as sent a picture. Kayla Crozier, we made a slide for you because we didn't have a picture of your teachers. So we invented something, and I think it's going to work. Reese was in there. I'm trying to notice any of these other names that were in this live feed. I forget. What's up, Tiffany? What's that? Ansley Lowe? Hello. That's a great profile picture that you have there. So Diane Davis from Monterey, Virginia. So it was really fun to do that video. So that should come out right when this video is done. And what I'm talking about, if you're just jumping on now, is the video that came out or that I asked for all of your pictures for. And we were just saying how I hope I got everyone. It was a lot of pictures, and it was hard to keep it all straight because I was I would work on it for a while and then make someone a sandwich, and then someone ran out of toilet paper, and then a friend stopped by or something like that. So I think I got it all done. I'm really proud of it. I think it's fun. And it's just simple, but it's kind of like my kind of love letter to teachers this time of year, especially because not all of us kind of get stuff unless Colby Sharp sends you a giant box in the mail and hooks you up with an Alexa. That may or may not have been a good idea because all my.
Watch that video yet.
Oh, all right. All right. So anyway, there's this teacher appreciation video that came out that's super great. While I'm just running my mouth, if you want to go ahead and put your questions in the side there, I'll be happy to answer them. And I was saying earlier, this isn't going to be a full hour this week because it's Mother's Day and I'm in the middle of making dinner and I still got to do some others. I'm trying to alleviate all of my wife's responsibilities today I'm not sure I will successfully accomplish all of that because she works way faster than I do, and she can multitask, and I can't multitask. It's like, yeah, it's not a skill that I possess. I can, unitask, but I don't know how it doesn't seem as good or something. So a couple of things. One, I don't have a weekly vlog up this week because I did testing in school all week. And just like I tried to make something and it was like, yeah, we're just testing and this isn't exciting. Next week's testing also, but I have like several videos that I made to come out during the week this week. That are going to be, I think they're fun. And I think they're going to be interesting to all of you. And it's something that are like little bite-sized pieces of interesting stuff as best I could do it. And so that's coming up. And then what else do we have coming up this week?
I don't know.
I forget. Are you in a coma right now?
Kind of.
You look like
I know if anybody could see
you look like
it
a
would
cave
be so
person. She has like this
embarrassing.
furry blanket around her. She's like a cave woman. So want to do some questions?
Yeah. You only have one.
Well, we'll lay it on me,
It says,
lady.
question may not be interesting, but what's a typical day in the life for you?
Typical day in the life for me.
Kayla. That's Kayla.
Depends. So, geez. Although I really love routine. So I'd say typical day in the life for me at my best is getting up early and having some sort of time to myself. So in my best life, that means getting up and going to the gym in the morning or praying or meditating in the morning. And then on a day where it's not starting off like, a superstar, I am sleeping in right until I need to get up and then get up, get ready for work. I have a very lovely wife that like makes my breakfast, makes my lunch every single day, makes my coffee and has everything ready for me. My wife is sort of like that machine at the beginning of the Jetson show that like she's the conveyor belt that I just ride on and then I'm magically ready, which I mean, if she's not here some days, it's like, I don't even know how to get myself together. So then I typically go to school. I get there around 7:30. I drive to school and I listen to podcasts usually. And I try and listen to something that's going to put me in a good space or give me a new idea or get me thinking, like kind of get those juices flowing. And so when I show up, sometimes I have like something new to talk about or show the kids or something like that. Then my intention is always to go to school and get I like a very clean whiteboard. I like writing on it with a brand new Expo marker, which is why I hide them in my room so the children cannot find them. And then is to like get organized for my day. That's usually upended by any number of teenagers coming into my room that want to tell me what happened this morning, what happened last night, what TV show they watched. Can I believe that something happened on TV or in the news, but I don't watch the news, so they're always disappointed that I don't know what's going on. And that time is usually taken up by them. And then I start my day by, the bell rings and I'm in the hallway and I'm saying hi to kids. And I like to be in the hallway in between every single class. And if I'm not, kids yell inside my room to see, am I all right? Because I'm not. Why aren't you standing at your door, Reynolds? Are you okay? Did you get hurt or something? Nope, didn't get hurt or anything. Just trying to do work. So that's typically the uneventful part of my day. And then lately I don't eat until 10:30 or 11 o'clock because I'm doing this time restricted eating. So, or what are we calling it? What's it called? Some kind of fasting situation.
Yeah, I forget.
It's so essentially like what I do is I eat between 10 and 11 o'clock in the morning, sometimes later, and then I don't eat after dinner anymore. And so the idea is that your eating patterns are matching your circadian rhythm. So like whenever you're eating, like when you wake up, like you aren't eating I don't know, you're not eating too late into the night and it's supposed to help you lose weight, which it has. I lost intermittent fasting. Thank you, Naturally Niani. But I lost 10 pounds in the last few weeks. And I haven't and I'm trying to do this without, not trying, there's no exercise going on because I'm tired as hell, those first few weeks. And I'm still jonesing. I'm jonesing for stuff that I don't usually care about. I want a Twix really bad. or at night, I just like think about Oreos, and I don't eat Oreos. They're not good for you. And I'm 41, trying to live to 42. So that's it. Anything else?
Um,
But the diet is going fairly well, and I don't do diets typically. But this experiment is pretty fun in a way that's not fun, but it's yielding a lot of results, which is very interesting. Ansley Lowe is asking, if you couldn't teach, what would you be doing? That's a good question. What would I be doing? I don't know. I don't know.
I feel like you would be a full-time YouTuber.
Think I would be a full-time YouTuber.
Yeah.
But what would I YouTube about if I didn't talk about teaching?
A family vlog? You're way weirder than people even know.
My wife's saying that I'm way weirder than people. I am a lot weirder than I've sort of let on so far. I don't know when that shows up. I don't feel weird when I'm recording. Like I feel like
So your ideas are very strange and
Yeah.
like parenting, like you could have
I do a lot of weird parenting stuff. I do a lot of weird teaching stuff, which I want to talk. What do you think I was going to turn on you? I do a lot of like there's a lot of singing and dance parties that take place in our house. There's a lot of weird kind of rules and goofy stuff. At school, I tell the kids that you can't, there's like different color tiles in the hallway, and I tell them like it's probably most of the floor tiles in school are white, and there's maybe like 20% of them are blue, and I tell them that you can't step on the white ones because they're made of lava, so you have to step on the blue ones, and then a surprising number of students will not walk on the white ones, and then they get yelled at, but they still do it anyway because you know what, they don't want their feet to burn off because the floor is lava. So I don't know. Maybe I would. I mean, I like YouTubing. I'm really enjoying. I don't know. I think I would teach. I think I would just teach something else, some other way. I like engaging with people. I like helping people out. I think that's how I got into teaching, and all of my other kind of like jobs I wanted before this were sort of in that vein. Like I wanted to be a priest or a monk. I even spent a little bit of time at a monastery. I wanted to be a clown, but I wanted to be a clown, like not in the Barnum and Bailey circus. I wanted to like travel to third world countries and help children that were like kind of stuck in the hospital without anything to do to like find some joy in the moment and help their parents to do the same thing. So I don't know, maybe I would do that. I would drag my kids around third world countries. The Year of Winslow is saying, what's your favorite podcast at the moment? I've been listening to a few. So a few months ago, I found the Joe Rogan Experience, which is really interesting because he has so many different types of people. Like some weeks they're talking about completely absurd, weird crap. Other weeks they're talking about health. Then they're talking about MMA fighting, which I'm not MMA like fan. Then they're talking about like, I don't know, space or some other like health, not just diet, but like, psychedelics. I'm really interested in, although I've never done psychedelics before, I'm very, very interested in the use of psychedelics at the moment, especially in order to help people with like that have like in lieu of like people with like eating disorders, people with PTSD, and not just soldiers, but like folks who have like been victims of like something very traumatic. I don't know why that is sticking in my head lately, but it is. I also listen to the Tim Ferriss show. I listen to the Aubrey Marcus podcast. I've been listening to and reading a lot of Seth Godin stuff lately. And yeah, I go through. So what I typically do is like, I find something that I'm interested in, whether it's a personality, whether an author, something like that, and then I exhaust that content. I will watch every single thing I can on them. I'll read every single thing I can. I can listen to every single interview until that is completely exhausted. I love doing that. What am I looking at?
Music, but her question is the two.
So is it read the top one first or the bottom one first? Okay. Nara for Music is saying, so I have 2 middle school music classes. Last week, I did an activity with them that required them to be creative and fun. Class A did awesome and had so much fun. Class B took it way too seriously. Should I chalk it and try it again today with Class B? Yes, you should try it again. I think, this sounds so dorky or like, I don't know, woo woo or whatever. But it's like the idea that if you don't try something, like the only thing that's worse than not trying something or than failing is not trying something. And so at the end of the day, like, what's the worst thing that's going to happen? If you're not going to lose your job, if it isn't something that like puts kids in danger, yeah, give it a shot. Like, and tell them, like, help them to reflect on what happened the day before. Like, look, this didn't go so well. So I'm not even sure if we should do this, but my intuition is that this could be really fun. That we're trying to break the learning game up a little bit and do stuff that's fun, right? Because school's not always fun. So if I'm trying to do something fun, I need you to try and get down with it a little bit. So like, and then I would sometimes what I'll do to get kids excited is I'll participate in whatever we're doing also, or I'll help someone. So if we go outside and we do, I've had classes that do like sidewalk chalk on the ground and we create street art. Some classes are awesome. They take a ton of time. They'll come in after school and get chalk. They'll go back out and like finish it up. Even though they're not taking it home, it's just like a moment in time that we have this project. And then I have other classes that just suck. They just like don't want to do it. And so what I do there is I'll either give them some ideas, I'll show them a couple of techniques, I'll show them how maybe I would do it, or hey, did you think of this? Or maybe it's a different spot, or maybe, why don't you come over here and do it in this like really cool location that I have, and make it into an experience. Or I'll just start doing it with them, and then they'll get stoked about like what I'm making and realize, oh, I could do that also. And I think that sometimes we just need to be the example for the students, and that helps. And if it doesn't work, sometimes it just doesn't work. Sometimes like the class that you have is like the wrong group of kids. There's too many of one type of personality, and silliness and fun and wildness doesn't really work. And then, but it's super cool that like it worked for that one class that you had. So that's what I would try. I would just get excited about it and like do it with them and see if it works that way. The Scottish revert teacher, my buddy, says, I realized a lot of teenage students don't believe they can achieve goals or be successful. I'm running out of ways to try and change that. Any tips? Oh, I think so. I have a lot of views on that. I think my dog is being, I don't know. He got his hair cut yesterday and now he's on, come here. And now he's like on fire. Look at this dude, right? Like I'm going to answer your question in a second, but look, he got his hair cut and he looks so handsome, and now all he wants is attention. And he like literally, if I stop moving, he walks to where I am and he just lays on my feet. So I can't move and like do anything. All right. Can you say hi to everyone in China? All right. Get down. Good boy. I'll pay you later. I'll get you the thing in a minute or something. So, kids that don't think they achieve, you know why? Because the noise outside of the world, I mean, I just made a video about this last week. The noise outside is so loud, maybe telling them they're not going to do anything, or their parents don't want them to do anything because their parents didn't do anything. And now it's like, what makes you think you can do something? Like you're better than us? Or their friends aren't doing something, or they're hanging out with the wrong friends. And I tell my guys that you are the average of the 5 people you hang out with the most. And so if your friends suck, you're going to suck too. And, I just think that noise is so loud that sometimes we're not going to break through to certain kids, right? And like, that's just going to happen. Like, you're just not going to win every kid. But I think that never, ever, ever giving up on a kid and letting them know that, like, dude, I get it. You're not buying this now, what I'm selling, but I need you to know that I'm never going to give up on you. And I'm going to keep reminding you all the time, every day, that you're awesome until you actually finally get it. Because I'm going to wait for that break. You're going to, at some point, hopefully, your guard is down, and I'm going to punch you in the face with that truth. Don't really punch your kids in the face. It's against the law. But that idea can hit them at some point, right? Like, if they have a really bad day, if they feel really low, maybe it hits them. Maybe they do achieve something and they're like, and you remind them like, yeah, this is what I've been telling you, dude. You're awesome. Like, just own it. And that would change them as well. I also think that maybe trying to find another teacher that could speak to that student. So maybe you're not the one. We're not always the right speaker for every student. but finding someone that they do listen to, that they could hear that information from, that just means that like we need to be a community of teachers and not just individuals that are going to help kids. And that can help as well. I think buying kids books, showing them videos, having speakers come in, maybe that are someone that your kids are going to listen to. Like maybe they come from the same neighborhood, the same background, the same situation, and your kids can relate with that. That can really, really resonate with kids. And I think the greatest example of that is when my students and I got invited to go meet with Gary Vaynerchuk last year in New York City. And I had kids after that I tried to like really, I've tried for years, like 4 or 5 years, to break them down, to get them to listen to me, to get them to believe in themselves. And they didn't. And they sat with that dude for an hour and they didn't know him ahead of time. Like not all of them had seen his videos or knew what he was about, but like just his words and the way that he spoke broke through to kids that are doing tremendously now. And it's, so sometimes it's not the words, it's who it's coming from. And the best example of that is this. Look, growing up, maybe your parents like gave you advice all the time or always told you X, and you just weren't hearing it because it was coming from your parents. But like your best friend says that and you're like, oh wait, oh yeah, that does make sense. And then your parents are shaking their heads. And I know that as a parent now. I tell my kids stuff all the time and they don't listen to me or don't believe me. And then one of their friends says it or their teacher says it. And I'm like, are you serious? Really? Because I'm pretty sure I've been saying that for a decade. So those are just a couple thoughts. Diane Davis is asking, are you teaching in a public school? Tell us more about your school. So I teach in a charter school, and what that is, essentially, it is in many ways the same. My school is in many ways the same as a public school. You do not have to, you have to apply to get in, but we pick your name out of a hat. So we don't like get the best students or the worst students. We just get students. Like put your name in the hat, fill out all the paperwork, pull it out, and you get to go to my school. The only fast track to my school is if you have a cousin or a brother that went to my school. It's all boys. It is, I'd say 100% of my students are on free and reduced lunch, meaning they get free breakfast and lunch every day. Most of my students come from low income households, not all of them. Most of my students do not have, these are all things that I think are interesting because they inform my teaching. Most of my students do not have a father that's at home. Not that they're not around, but I have guys that like their dad lives 2 blocks away and just doesn't care. And so they don't come around and so that sort of thing. I'd say 99% of my students are African-American. We have 1 Pakistani student, 1 Asian student who I feel like we call upon those dudes every time we need to take a picture for the school. So we look more diverse, but we're not diverse. And I'd say some of the things I really appreciate about my school are that, that 1 Asian student, the 2 Hispanic students, the 1 Pakistani student, like they're don't look like everyone else, but the school doesn't act that way. Like that's one of the things I'm really proud about my boys is that they don't like stereotype the Asian child. Like he's part of the group. He's just a part of the crew. And I love that. There's even, I won't say a large, but a sizable, like LGBTQ community in my school. And I think for the most part, those dudes are really kind of like brought into the fold and not bothered. Now, that's not all the time because everything in my school is gay all the time, right? What I mean by that is someone is, I don't know, you want to like, I'm trying to think of something like an example of like dudes will say like you're girling about something or, oh, you drink that, like that's your favorite kind of juice, like you're gay. And so that's a constant conversation of like, what are we using these words for? What is your meaning behind it? Like, do you realize that is hurtful to people? So that's a constant conversation and they're teenagers. So I expect it. And it happens every single year. And I'm just like, I just don't get upset about it because it's like, nope, you're young and you don't know everything yet. And that's where I'm going to meet you. And then we're going to have a conversation about it because you're not allowed to just say it. So I think other cool things about my school are I don't have to do lesson plans. I have complete autonomy in my classroom. That's right. I said I don't have to do lesson plans. I have complete autonomy in the classroom, meaning I get to read whatever books I want. For the most part, I do have to read Merchant of Venice, which is like, don't really love that, John. But yeah, so that's like in a nutshell some of the things I think that are really kind of fascinating. And I can do anything I want in my classroom, but I think that's just because I started doing anything I want in my classroom and people liked it. It wasn't because anyone ever said I can do anything I want. But the perks of that are I never get my room moved. I am in the same room every year, but I think that's because I built a tree in there. And once you build a tree in your room, they're not going to move you because guess what? I'm going to drag that damn thing down the hallway to my new room, and it's going to make a mess. Alfonso Weems asked, based on your experiences, would you want your child to follow your professional footsteps? So that's really funny because my daughter wants to be a teacher. She wants to be a teacher in the classroom right next to mine. And she wants to have a secret passageway between my room and her room. And I'm telling you now, if she does become a teacher and she teaches in that room, we will 100% have a secret passageway that goes from one room to the other. I would. I think that teaching, I think it's about, here's the thing about being a parent. I knew before I became a parent that I wanted to be a great parent. I knew that. Is that making peculiar noise, that thing in this oven? Maybe not. Okay, that was, I thought I had heard something happening with my roast in the oven. I knew that I wanted to be a great parent, and I knew that I wanted to be a great parent by getting into whatever my kids were into. So I don't watch sports. And so in America, American football is just like the biggest thing going on in my school. My students can't believe it. But last year, our local team, the Eagles, were in the Super Bowl, and the boy wanted to watch it. He was super stoked. Everyone was talking about it in school. So you know what? We all bought shirts that said Eagles on them. We got snacks. We watched the football game. I couldn't explain most of what was happening to him because I don't know what a blitz is or a down or why they call that dude a quarterback. But I watched it with him, and now he's excited for next season to watch the Eagles. He wants to watch every single game, and I'll watch every game. Until that football game, I literally had never watched an entire football game in my life. If he was in the monster trucks or bowling, I could give a crap about bowling, but I would totally get down with it because that's what my kids are excited about. So if they wanted to go into teaching, I would 100% back them, but I would want to make sure that that's what they really, really wanted to do. I never want my kids to do anything they have to do unless, that requires like taking care of your children. But I just want them to follow like whatever they are excited about in life. And then I want to support that as much as I possibly can. Rachel Schleicher?
No, she spelled it out phonetically last week, and I can't remember what it is.
Because I have no memory.
Yeah.
Anyway, hello, Rachel. Thank you for asking a question. I'm wondering how to deal with feeling discouraged with teaching. I know some teachers feel this way at the end of the year. By the way, love your videos. Well, thank you very much, Rachel. I would say, look, man, how do you deal with being discouraged at the end of the year? I think you realize that you are, in essence, doing a job that very few people want to do because, like, in theory, people want to be a teacher. But then they show up and they're like, no, I love English and I love kids. This is going to be easy. Like, these kids are going to love me. I'm going to teach things and have projects and activities and trips that kids are going to love. And then you get there and you realize you're kind of like a football coach that showed up for a team that doesn't want to play football. That's it. Like, you have to, it's like being a personal trainer and standing in front of a group of people that have no interest in like exercising or lifting weights or doing aerobics. So how do you get them to do it? You can't win everyone, number one. Number two, I think you focus on the kids that you can help, right? So like that class that you have, that sucks. That like everything's a drag in there. You try and find the kids in there that you can help raise the bar for, and then you start with them. And I think that creates a gravity sometimes. I think also you have to give yourself a break. It's almost kind of laughable. Like sometimes I'll look at like how bad a lesson went, or it was like last week or 2 weeks ago, My lesson started 20 minutes late for my first period, which in teacher time is about 75 years, it feels like that you've
Hmm.
been standing there waiting. And it just was a nightmare. And I just kind of laughed at it and told the kids, like, look, I thought this was going to be awesome and it sucks. And in my head, this is how this played out. But we all see how it actually played out and just didn't work. It's cool. Like, we'll figure it out. And you just keep trying. And because what happens is the more you just keep trying and you refuse to give up, the more kind of tips and tricks you have under your belt that you'll figure out the lessons that do work or what to do when they don't work. And so next year, I am, as far as I know, I'm not co-teaching because I told the school I don't want to co-teach anymore. I'm teaching only ninth grade. I'm not teaching 10th grade again. And it's kind of like I've done that job a lot of times by myself, just ninth grade, know what my classes are. I have so much cool stuff that is just like lined up with ideas of things to do that it's kind of what way can we make it go wrong? Like if things aren't going wrong, then I don't think that shows that you're not doing a good job. I think it shows that you're not trying new stuff enough, bars. So try new stuff. You should be failing, but like, what's the worst thing that's going to happen? Your hair's not going to catch on fire. And if your focus is the students and your focus is for them to learn, who cares if if the principal pops his head in and everything is going completely awry, because it's all right. I was trying something new and it didn't work out. I'm going to take notes on it. I'm going to try something new. And then that's what it's going to be. So if you're getting discouraged, I say to just tell that discouragement, like I would sit with it, feel it out, which sounds a little bit woo woo, right? But like you're like letting it in, being mindful of it, and then just tell it to like go to hell. Like, I'm not doing this. I'm here to do the best that I can. And maybe at the end of the year, practice like the craziest stuff, the looniest lesson that you can come up with, because the year's almost finished anyway. Like, these kids are going to be out of here in no time. So while you can just, it's not like you try something crazy in September and it just goes completely awry and you're like, oh my God, now I have this class for the rest of the year. So that's what I would think of.
CJ made a really good point.
Mrs. CJ is saying, at the end of the year, I tend to be in constant reflection mode. I look at things I want to keep and change from my lessons for next year. It's motivating to think about the new year. 100%. You could ask your students. This is the first time ever this year I gave my students reflections on like what they like about my class, what didn't they like about my class, and it was really insightful. Like, kids that thought I didn't pay enough attention to them. I didn't think that was a thing. I thought that's like my jam. Or kids that I thought hated my class that were like, one of my questions was, what would you tell eighth graders that are getting ready to come into Mr. Reynolds' class next year? And this kid wrote, this is the best class that you'll ever have. And I literally thought you hated my class every day. But I can't believe that was your answer. So yeah, I think that's what I would do. I would go nuts, try a whole bunch of crazy stuff and see what happens, and tell the kids, like, all right, this is the experiment portion of the
Are you
year.
talking about me?
I heard you say kids.
I wasn't. You are my kid, though. Thank you for being so. David Marsh is asking, how do you respond to teachers in your building that ooze negativity everywhere they go and bring the group down? Bro, what do you do about negative people?
I don't know.
He says he doesn't know. Don't ask him. Good work. Thanks for your help. There's a couple of different ways. One, David, make sure you surround yourself with awesome people. Even if you have one awesome person in school and you have like your secret little kind of awesome relationship and you guys are just awesome and that's it, that's enough. But if you can get 3, 4, 5 people, make sure you are like treating those relationships like they are a garden that you have to tend to, you have to take care of, you have to, fertilize is kind of a weird thing to say. But like, I just think the more you can take care of that relationship and not just complain about stuff, although that's okay, but you're not just doing that. You're bringing, you're exciting each other. You're getting pumped up about stuff with one another. And I think doing that helps you to see the positive. I think outshining the negativity, right? So I have people in my school, right? Like everyone does. that I just don't think they like what I'm doing all the time. So the other day I bought robot arms from IKEA, and they're like, they look like robot arms.
It's
Like
part
you
of a costume.
slide it on, but it's a costume that there's just arms to. Is there a whole?
No, there's like a head. I think.
All right. Well, I could afford the arms because I'm a teacher. So I buy these arms, and they have these clamps on the end, and I stand in the hallway and I shake kids' hands with them. Or I have these little tiny hands. You like pull your hand into your sleeve, and you put this little tiny hand, looks like Deadpool on there, and you shake hands in the hallway, and it freaks kids out. Or you give high fives with it, or I have a big hand on a stick, or I'm blowing bubbles, and like all the weird stuff that I do. Or I've been real into dance parties at the end of class. So my co-teacher and I have been picking like I don't like air quotes, but bad songs for kids to dance to at the end of class and coming into the next class. And there are people that hate that stuff. They don't think it's professional. They think that you're being ridiculous. They think there's no educational value to it. They think if it doesn't align with your curriculum, that you shouldn't be doing it. That school is a place where like we should be serious and we're getting kids ready for a world that is serious. And I just think that those people are too serious. I think it's nonsense and that you should have as much fun as you can. So when I see someone I have people in my school that do not say hi to me, that when I say hello to them, they just totally diss me and walk by. So what I do, I give them the sonic boom hello, and I make sure that they hear me, right? And I don't want to do that in a way where I'm just kind of like, haha, see what I did to them. It's like, nope, you're like Han Solo and Carbonite, and I need to let you out because this is good, should be more fun than it is. And you'll eventually wear them down because you know what, David? You'll become known as the weird teacher or the funny teacher or the goofy teacher or the teacher that they at least go like, all right, he's being weird, but that's kind of his gig and it works. They'll see that it works for you, and over time, you're crushing it and you don't have to worry about that anymore.
You noticed that first. Kind of went with what we were talking about.
So Niani, a good friend Niani, is saying, not to be negative, that already means no, I'm just kidding. But I tried something new because I wanted feedback. Got a horrible eval for taking a risk and lost my job. Oh, well, man, that's a different situation. So, but Niani, I would argue that I mean, what does that say about your school? What does that say about the people that you were a part of, that taking risks, trying something new, trying to not, everyone knows, right? Or if you don't know, you at least notice that like school is set up in a way that's not effective a lot of times. Like this coming in and being quiet and sitting in rows and raising your hand when you have a question and like asking things like, is this going to be on the test? How many points is this worth? Like our focus is on the wrong things. And if someone stands up and tries to change that and they lose their job over it, or if someone thinks that it's inappropriate, and I'm not saying to just like, there are things that are inappropriate. There are teachers that make crucially bad decisions that end their position, right? And to everyone else, having known Niani a little bit, like, I don't think that was her situation, but I'd say if you're young enough, like, I'd just go for it anyway. And if you lose your job, like, maybe that wasn't the best school for you. Like, if your focus is the kids, then I say the hell with them. You make your focus the kids, and you do everything you can for the students, and to hell with that other stuff. And Niani is asking, or this, I'm not sure this is a question. So Niani, are we meeting up in Chicago? Are you a part of this situation with Detroit teacher? I don't know if that's
she's
something.
On here. Detroit.
Oh, is she?
She's watching it.
I know she's doing the meetup. She's setting up the meetup, but I didn't know if Niani was in on that situation. We tell kids how to handle adversity all the time. I'm stuck in
said yes.
Oh, dude. Are you gonna wear those Tribe Called Quest sneakers? I'm stuck in a dysfunctional environment. Staff agrees it's damaging us and the kids. Everyone is afraid to speak up. What to do? I think, man, that's interesting. I think what I do is I start with the teachers, right? Like, if I want to know kind of what, you find kindred spirits. You find people that you get along with that are going to do kind of like what you're doing or what you think is a good idea, and then find out, like, I think there's power in having a number of people feeling a certain way. And then I think that where some folks go wrong is you go to the principal, you go to administration, you say, these are all the things we don't like and we want them fixed. Instead of saying, these are things that we're noticing in the school and we're wondering if like what we could do to help the situation, right? You go at it instead of like saying that you are like being demanding. Instead, you're like asking where you can help. Like, hey, look, these are some things that we're noticing. Like, kids are out of uniforms, or they're on their phones all the time, or they're disrespecting staff, or they're cutting class and they don't have passes, or they're showing up late without a pass and no one can help it, or they have to go to the bathroom 97 times during a class, or they're falling asleep, or whatever it is. You say, these are things that we're noticing, and we want to be like part of a team that helps this. Like, we care about the school and this is what we want to do. I think sometimes changing your wording like that is beneficial. Like I've said before, when I pull a kid out of class for the first time, I always ask, hey, even though there's sometimes I am 100% sure that I didn't do anything, I'll still ask, I see that you're acting this way, and I'm just wondering if there's anything that I did to upset you. And I think that throws kids off sometimes. They don't expect you to come at them like that. They don't expect like you to take the blame. And sometimes you are wrong. Sometimes you did screw up. And I don't think that's being soft or being weak. I think it's trying to come at people in a way they didn't see. Because if you come at the principal or administration or whatever the same way that everyone's always done it, you're going to get the same reaction. So if you can spin it a different way, you still get what you want and you don't look weak. You're just saying, look, in all honesty, something's messed up. We want to help it. What can we do? Like, you're in charge. What authority do we have? Can we work on something? Can we form a team or whatever? How can we handle that? And that's probably the first step that I would take anyway in doing that. Alfonso Weems said, what criteria do you use in determining which students do and do not receive end of the year awards? I've been struggling to recognize only A, B students. So Alfonso, here's one of the things I do that's weird, and I don't do it every year. I do it when I feel like it's an interesting thing to do. I just think too many of the same kids get asked on trips. They get asked to do. They win all the awards. They get asked to go to special meetings with the principal and stuff. It's like always the same dudes, right? So when I take class trips, I do take some of those guys, but I always take at least 50% of my guys are not those guys. 50% of them are the guys that are failing most of their classes. So the guys that like, I'm not sure how this is going to turn out because I'm not sure if you can behave. And like, I take less behavioral issues and more grade issues. Because I want them to get excited about school. I want them it buys me leverage. It lets them know that like, you just never know what's going to happen in Reynolds' class. I've been failing all year and I get to go on a trip somewhere. Like, that's awesome. I want you to get excited about education. And so one of the things I've done is I will sometimes go to the dollar store and they sell like these little medals, and it comes with like a little like red, white, and blue kind of like strap, and it has like a little crappy medal at the bottom. Or in the past, I've gone to the thrift store, I buy crap and I spray paint it gold so it looks like a trophy. So it might be a tiny dinosaur or a big dinosaur or a fake plant or a fork, but now it's gold. And I make up awards. So like award for the kid that, I don't know, like always has the best jokes. They might be the worst student, but man, their timing is good. Their jokes aren't lazy. They're not making fun of fat kids for being fat, or they're not making fun of kids with weird hairlines because they have weird hairlines. Like, they find the other stuff, or they find the moments. Kids that aren't doing that well, but they always help someone else for some reason, or they always want to help you, and they like clean your board every day, or they pick up trash, or they eat lunch, or they just always ask how you're doing. Like, every day I have these two twins at my school, the Davis twins, always come in every day. They must shake my hand 17 times a day, and they just pop in. They're like on their way to the bathroom. Yo, Reynolds, just want to say what's up. They give me a handshake or a hug every day. Or kids that don't let anyone else get to them. In that class of complete, like, sane people, there's that one kid that's just like, he's just riding it out, still doing his work, doesn't get caught up in it. And maybe his work's not that good. Maybe he doesn't talk, it flies under the radar for everyone, but you give him some kind of an award that you name different stuff. And I just think that those are really fun awards to give out. Could name them after comic book characters or TV personalities, or just make up stupid names. I think that's a really fun way to do it. And I think in a lot of ways, those awards go over way bigger than like, you have perfect attendance this year. Like, dope, you have perfect attendance. That's great. It's not anything to like make fun of, but I'd rather have like, the badass award, or like the, award for like the most grit, or the shook my hand more times than anyone else in a single day award, something like that, right? That's what I'm just thinking of. Kimberly Wallback is asking, what's the best way to deal with the one child who won't cooperate with the group? That's a tough question, because it depends on what that student's deal is. Like, are they like super ADD? Are they super lazy? Are they mean? Are they manipulative? Are they sneaky? Do they just not care about the class? Are they uninterested? So there's a couple of different ways, and something I don't talk about that much is I just will put kids out sometimes. Like, I'll kick them out of class. And my agreement with all of my students is, you are not chained to the desk. No one made you, no one held you at gunpoint and brought you to school this morning. At least I hope no one held you at gunpoint, brought you to school this morning, and then made you come in. Like, you're here because you want to. You can leave whenever you want to. And although saying that doesn't always, like, that's not for everyone. I know my audience, and so I know what I'm saying, and I know what I can get away with. But on the first day of school, I tell kids, you don't want to come to school? Don't come to school. Go hide in the bathroom. There's seats in there. Just chill. And no one's ever taken me up on that. But the message I'm trying to get across is, I feel like by you walking through my door and shaking my hand like I do to every single student every single day, there is a nonverbal communication going on there that is, I want to be here today, or I'm willing to be here today. And then it's my job to make this interesting for you. And that's not everyone's jam. That's how I look at this. But if I have a class, I have a particular period this year where I have a few students in there that can be extremely challenging for any number of reasons. I've tried everything I can think of. There's been every parent meeting, teacher meeting, with the principal, the guy that's above the principal, like, everyone's been involved and nothing seems to work. And with those dudes, it's like, if I can get everyone locked into something and we're going for it, and someone wants to keep touching people, keep throwing things, mumbling things under their breath, cursing at other kids, putting kids down for stuff under their breath, bro, you got to go. Because what you're doing is you're messing up my chemistry. Like, you are like, I'm trying to do something bigger than you right now. And I'll ask you to step in the hallway. I'll speak to you about it first and say, look, I don't know what's going on here, man, but I really want you to succeed more than anything. But you just don't want to, right? You want to be that dude that I'm saying, stop. You're running into a burning building right now. You're going to get hurt. And you're like, nah, I got this. I'm going to run into that building anyway. I can't stop you. And I'm sure as hell not running into the building and like grabbing you in the middle of the fire. Like, I have all these other people to take care of as well. So I think that that's okay. And I think a lot of teachers don't think that it's okay, but sometimes you got to be removed so that we can like figure that out outside of the classroom, because now is not the time for it. Other than that, I think if you have I have other students, I have one kid that's very endearing, or I love him a lot this year. And he has wicked ADHD. He doesn't always remember to take his medication. He's 100 miles an hour. I give that dude jobs. He doesn't get to be a part of a group necessarily. He walks around and helps other groups, or hands out supplies, or like, I find a different role for him. And so I think, we have to remember that school's not the same for everyone, and that sometimes we have to do these kind of like not unconditional. What am I thinking of? Unconventional things to engage students, and put them in charge instead. Like, that could be a thing that's important to them. Let's do 2 more. We weren't going to go an hour, but my roast is gonna beep in a second. What's that? What am I looking at?
You have 10 more minutes to an hour, so just go an hour.
So I should just go an hour?
Yes.
Well, then I will, because
Right.
it's Mother's Day. I don't do whatever you say. Bars. Did you have a question? I think I messed this up.
Oh, you sure did.
I sure did. I'm sorry.
Oh, there you go.
Thanks, buddy. Question is, Ansley Lowe is asking, what's your favorite book at the moment? I'm looking for something to read. So favorite books at the moment are, what are you sucking your teeth for?
Because I feel like your books are always so like mannish versus
I have manly books.
Yeah, like Aubrey Marcus and Tim Ferriss. Like, don't you read any like?
They are. I guess they're kind of macho. A lot of testosterone filled stuff. So right now I'm reading
Tattoos on the Heart. I mean, that's not much.
Own the Day, Own Your Life by Aubrey Marcus, which is about it has a piece in there about supplements and about it is a little bit woo-woo and about this like high fat diet that I'm experimenting with, and so that's kind of why I bought it. And I just think he's an interesting dude. I've been reading. I always am reading anything by Father Gregory Boyle. Tattoos on the Heart is the new one, and that is a book that reminds me why I'm doing what I'm doing. So he's a priest, but you don't have to be religious. Like, you can still get the message if you read the book. And he works with gang members in South Central Los Angeles. And it is one of the things I love about him so much is that he never, ever, ever gives up on anyone. Like, even if you got sent to jail for something heinous, he still will come and visit you. He still tries to help you out and to get you a job. One of his sayings is, nothing stops a bullet like a job. And so the gang members that he's working with, he's like, if I can get them a job and they can own their own money and they can get it home, like that stops you from going back to the gang life so often. So I'm always reading stuff by him. I'm reading The Purple Cow right now, or I'm listening to that on audiobook by Seth Godin. And that I think is interesting for teachers also, even though it's a marketing book. Teachers are not cogs, right? We are not some cog in a machine and we all do something the same exact way and then we all get the same outcome of that. And so you have to learn to think outside the box. You have to learn to do things differently, because otherwise the children are going to suffer. And some people are cogs, right? They don't mind showing up to school and doing the same lesson that everyone else in every other first grade class in their district is doing at the same time every day. And I don't diss them at all, because I don't think no one got into it for that. But sometimes the school just changes, and then you're 25 years in and it's like, well, what do I do now? And I don't know that I have an answer for that, because I've not been in that situation. But I just think all teachers are different, which is why I always tell people, this is what works for me. It may not work for you. So like acting goofy and doing silly stuff to kids, like putting tape in their hair while they're taking testing, it's something that's funny for me. It makes my kids laugh. I don't know that will work for everyone. Someone might lose their teeth if they do it. So yeah, I forgot. So my books that I'm reading at the moment. I think those are the 3 books I feel like I'm reading. Oh, and I'm rereading Pat Croce's I Feel Great and You Will Too, because I've been sending Pat Croce a letter every single day for over a week now, and he is going to come and visit my school. So is Will Smith, but Will Smith doesn't know it yet because I didn't put that video out, but it's coming out this week. Get ready, Will Smith. What do we got?
Morgan Silva, and then she comments on her thing.
Oh, Morgan Silva. She sent us a picture. You sent us a picture for the teacher collab. You were in front of like art. I remember there's this crazy metal structure in the back. That's why I kept. That's what stood out in your picture so much. So you said, are there any resources that are helpful? Any resources that have helped you help students with stuff like anxiety or depression? What about students with ADHD who are not medicated? Oh, brother, I know that. I'm going to read the second part of your question real quick too. I feel like I am dealing with this more and more, and yet I feel so ill-equipped. I have actually considered going to a therapist who would be willing to help me meet these kids. Or help you help these kids. I have thought about this a lot. I feel like Morgan.
Real quick tip. She should email or like look into the Instagram guy that does the neuroscience for education. I feel like.
I don't know who that is though. Like even off the top of my head, no. I mean, I want to hook up with that dude this summer. Okay. So Morgan, I've noticed this a lot too, where I feel like this year especially, I have more kids that are sad, that are depressed, that are dealing with like really tough issues than ever before. And I think the number, so I've never been to like therapy, but I have done spiritual direction for, I don't know, almost 10 years now. And it's kind of the same thing in a lot of ways. And what I notice that helps all the time is, one, giving kids a safe space to be, right? Your room becomes a safe space. It becomes a space where kids can be who they are and no one's going to make fun of them unless it's like fun making fun of, right? So like everyone's kind of laughing. That thing is making me nervous. Everyone is kind of like laughing at something together and they're not like trying to damage someone. Just that alone gives kids a place where they can just be. You're having a bad day, you want to go chill during the ability to talk about what's going on. Like, hey, you don't seem yourself. Is there anything you want to talk about? And I should maybe do a video on like how I kind of like am able to break kids down, because at this point, if I ask someone what's going on and they tell me nothing, and I know something's going on because they're obviously dealing with something, I tell them now, like, look, here's the deal. You're either going to just tell me, and it's going to save us time, and I can be a lot more used to you a lot quicker, or I'm going to ask you I sound like taken. I'm going to ask you a very particular set of questions, and when you answer all of them, I'm going to know exactly what's going on, and you're going to answer all of them because every kid ever always does. I'm going to get to the root of this, and those usually look like, I always tell kids, you don't have to tell me anything you don't want to. I'm not trying to like trap you and make you talk about anything. Two, know that I'm a mandated reporter. So if anything comes up, like you tell me that someone's abusing you, there's anything about like molestation or anything like that, I have to report those things to people. But, then I just ask like, is whatever's going on a problem with your, like, is it in school or out of school? That's it. That's all you got to tell me. And then they'll answer. So if it's in school, it's like, is it with a friend or someone that's not a friend? You don't have to tell me their name. I'm just asking, is it with a friend or not a friend? And then they'll answer. And then, because that's a pretty easy question, right? I'm just throwing them softballs there. And then I'll ask kids, so if it's with, let's just go down this rabbit hole and say it's a friend. Is it something you did or that they did, right? Like, no big deal. And then you kind of are whittling them down to finding out what happened, because part of being a teenager or being a young person in general is you're not always sure what's going on in your head, or like things look like someone was insulting you, but they weren't. Or you took someone's tone of voice, or you read a text message wrong, or you thought, I find that a lot of times by students not fully listening to what's going on, they get the wrong idea of what actually happened. And so try and go out this Friday. And she'll say, yeah, okay. And then Friday I'll get here. And in my mind, I might be thinking, we're 100% going out on Friday. And then my wife is like, comes downstairs in pajama bottoms, is ready to chill for the night. I'm like, dude, what are you doing? I thought we were going out. No, you said what do you think about going out on Friday? That wasn't, we're going out on Friday. And so that miscommunication can really piss me off sometimes and confuses her, because she thinks, well, we didn't even talk about this. And she's usually right. But, students are a lot like that too. And so it's about helping them to figure out like what's going on in your head, what's hurting you, and then actually dealing with it. And then sometimes you just listen. You don't even have to give the advice, or the kid will figure it out themselves. But giving kids a place to just talk about it, I'm telling you, it looks like you're doing nothing sometimes. It looks like you're providing no value. But when you really, really think about it, how many young people have a trusted adult to just talk to sometimes that's not going to dog them about their decision? It's not going to say, oh, well, you cheated on your girlfriend. What the hell did you think she was going to think? You just go, well, let's talk about that. Like, why would you do something like that? Or how did you think it was going to make you feel? And like helping them work through that and process that situation instead of just like punching them in the face or like telling them that they were wrong or bad. They already know that. They need someone that's just going to listen to them. And I think that really helps. Sometimes I think doing that with a group of individuals too, like a couple of other trusted teachers, can make that feel like a healthier situation, or like there's a community around that student also. That helps too sometimes. What do we got? Last one? Two more?
Yeah, but before that's how she pronounces
Nayara? 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 Am I saying that right?
Yeah,
I think I am. Feels
Nayara.
right.
Yeah, and
I
then
feel like I'm
the
on Sesame
music.
Street when they have like when they used to bring the pieces of the word together. That's what I need.
They move it a little closer.
Yeah, I apologize, honestly. All right, Nayara. Bam. I get stoked though when I got it right. Do you or anyone else have suggestions for kids for the end of the year questionnaires for kids? So let's do this. Nayara needs suggestions for end of the year questionnaires for kids. You could either email me and I'll give you the one that I made up, or if somebody else has a good answer, maybe they have like a grade that's closer to yours, or they're teaching music also. Maybe they could help you out with it. But let's she's on here somewhere. You can just find her, or maybe you can connect her with like your music teacher or someone that you like, and that would help them as well. Sound good? My email address is realrapwiththereynolds@gmail.com, and you can just send it there. And anyone else that wants that, I'd be happy to. I'm always happy to send out any of my stuff. I'm not trying to sell anything.
So just a comment.
Plus, I just don't think it's that good to sell. Like, you go on TPT, and it's like everyone's stuff looks nice. Mine just looks like, I don't know. It's more utilitarian than that. Naturally, Niani is saying, so if I write you consistent or constantly, you will come speak to my boys. You could just ask me whenever, and I would be more than happy to come and hang out with your students. But yeah, I think though, right, that idea, I think so much stuff is rushing to my head. This is going to be my final thought. My final thought is getting students to come and speak to or getting adults, professionals, for me, it's someone that looks like my students a lot of times. So a lot of times I teach almost all African-American boys. I want men that are African-American professionals, someone that's following their passion, something that's doing something that excites them in life, to come and speak to my boys. Why? Because a lot of my guys, and admittedly, do not have someone that they can look up to that looks like them, that's doing something that is inspiring. And I just think that's so important, because once you see someone doing something you want to do, you can kind of envision yourself doing that also. And so I like, not that everyone is, I don't have all African-American males, because I think it's important for my boys to also see like Asian entrepreneurs or white street artists or women that have powerful positions. Like, all of those things are important, but I do try and reach out to a certain demographic when I am doing it mostly. And I've very rarely been turned down. And if I'm turned down, it's because someone's just too busy, not because they are like afraid to come into the hood and talk, or they're afraid to come to speak to boys that look like mine or act like mine. I very rarely get asked for money when I do this stuff. Like, no one wants to get paid, or if I pay, it's like an Uber ride or something like that. But I just think that sometimes the messenger matters so much and can change everything. So just reach out and ask people, but you have to be mindful. Like, I'm going to make this video that's coming out this week. It's called Dear Will Smith, that I thought of a while ago, that I want Will Smith to come and speak to my school, because he's from West Philly. He reps West Philly all the time on YouTube. And so I made a video, and my hope is that somehow, some way, that video gets to him, and that no one else has ever tried to approach him in that particular way, that I'm going to win. And here's the crazy part, right? This is nuts. And there's only 41 people watching right now, so that's probably good. I really think I'm going to win. I really, really think it's going to happen. I literally sit in my classroom, and when I want something like that to happen, I envision it. I look in the front of my classroom. I can see Will Smith standing in front of my class, talking to my boys. I can see him showing up, walking through the front door, and I'm meeting him. I'm envisioning this stuff as it's happened, or like before it happens. And then I'm just going to keep asking you until you at least tell me no. Because if you don't ask, the answer's already no. That's the important thing here, right? If you do not ask the question, the answer's always no anyway. So just ask the question. What's the worst thing that's going to happen? You're going to catch on fire. So yeah, and I'm not Will Smith, so let's hook it up, Niani. I'll come to your school. Send me an email or something and tell me I'm getting to Chicago, Detroit area. It's a long Uber ride. Kate said there's someone being
Oh.
stupid.
I thought it was retracted.
Oh, it might have been retracted, Kate. I don't know. Someone's being dumb on here. But
Oh, she did it. Thank
they
you.
need a
Say thank you.
they
Kate.
need a hug. Thanks, Kate. So that's it. This week I have a lot of testing coming up, and so I'm going to put out a lot. I have a lot of good videos. I have a story about my mom that I'm putting out there that I think is really awesome, and it's one of my mom's like best moments in her life to me. Something that stands out to me. My video to Will Smith is coming out this week. I have a video that I'm putting out literally as soon as this video is done. Putting something up about it's kind of like my love letter to teachers at the end of this teacher appreciation week, because some people are feeling a lot of love and some people are feeling zero love. And so I just wanted to shout those dudes out. And then some other stuff coming up this week too. What do you got?
Thank you everyone for all my Mother's Day wishes. I saw them.
There she is. That's not my hand either. These are my hands. So you keep moving it as soon as I move my
Sorry.
hand. My hands are much larger than my wife's. She's saying thank you so much for all of her Mother's Day wishes. But do you want to be on camera?
No.
All right.
I did no
'Cause
hair
it's
or
been a
makeup,
set-
and I have.
She has a
some
career day.
Food on my shirt that.
All
I
right,
think I was
you're giving
washing
too many.
dishes.
Come on.
I don't
Come
want
on.
to be all there.
We're in the public eye right now. Tell me you have food on your shirt. Oh, and there's the timer. That means my roast is done. Hey Google, stop timer. All right, gang. You guys are awesome. I hope you have the best week ever. I hope you try crazy stuff and that you can email me and tell me that you tried it and either you did terrible and then we have to plan some cleanup, or you tried something and it went like crazy awesome. And I hope that happens for you too. So to all the mothers out there, happy Mother's Day. And to all the mothers that will soon be mothers, or I don't know. That was kind of a weird thing to say. I'm going to leave it at that. Thanks, everybody. Peace.